also known as Infected Flinch, and welcome to the Shape of Things to Come. Usual thing of where I talk about rubbish and so forth and so on. But the game behind me, true classic, depending on what you want to call it, Star Fox or Star Wing. I always used to call it Star Fox, but I know they couldn't call it Star Fox, but I don't know if they still call it Star Fox now. Who knows? But yeah, Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. Yes. So I might let somebody else play that, or I might play it myself because I'm a sadist and leave all the bad ones for everyone else. Who knows? But yeah, general things to talk about today. There was a bunch of questions, well, one question really. The joysticks, Steve Benway and a few others did answer, which is why do you retro game? So I might touch on that a little bit later on in this video. So I'll probably just talk rubbish on that one. Not for very long, hopefully. But yeah, pickups. Things I found whilst going out and about. So I found this awesome store whilst out and about in a place called Skirlington, I think it was. I'll put it in the captions if I got it wrong. If I got it right, I'll put it right. But yeah, there was a retro game store there, and he's fucking awesome. So if you want to go and buy something from him, he has so much good stuff. So find him, get stuff. But some things here in this pile are not from that, so let's go through them, shall we? So the first thing, I've had this for a while, but I'm wondering if it's going to be any good, but yeah, Super Troll Islands. Based on those horrifying kids' toys with the big huge hair and the big eyes, like they've been on LSD or something. So yeah, Super Troll Island. Islands, plural, so there's a few in there. So that's the first one. Second, that was for the Super Nintendo, in case you wondered, but you probably would have known. Second thing, I've been wanting to play this because we did do a playthrough of Future Cop for the PS1, but it was very long and Stefan kept on getting stuck in corners and couldn't seem to go anywhere, so it wasn't all that interesting to watch. But the other mode, the Precinct Assault mode, I loved that. If I manage to get some more subscribers again, hint hint, you can watch that one. But yeah, we'll see. But this next one is made by the same guys, that's what I'm getting to. Soviet Strike for the PS1. So yeah, I had Desert Strike for the Game Gear, but that's about as much as I ever got. So I'm intrigued with that one, so I'm wondering if it's any good, because I think people were getting fed up of the Strike series at this point. And I don't think it well, after Future Cop, because it didn't sell, they kind of just decided that's it, no more, which I was a bit sad about, because I adored that one. It was great, and we need games like these again, which is what I'm going to come to later. So yes, the next one, I got this for £1, and after seeing Rabbit lose his rag,
No, there's a picture of a hole. There's a picture of a hole. Oh, you fucking bastard!
But yeah, seeing him lose his rag before, I thought he's got to really play another golf game. Actua Golf 2, made by our Sheffield-based brothers. That one. So only £1. It went to charity. It's not got a box, as you can see. It's actually stuffed in there. Intriguing. That's probably the word for that one. Right, other news is I've actually managed to procure another Nintendo, a normal one. So I'm hopefully going to get that soon, and I'll be able to play all these games I'm getting for it for the original NES. Because I'm crying out to play some original NES games, I really am. And the only one I really did play was Low G Man, which you can see on the link somewhere over there, over here, wherever. So yeah, that's the only one I played, but I emulated that, and a friend of mine asked me to do it. So in any case, I managed, whilst I was out on my holiday, I managed to buy 2 NES games. The first of which is this one, Super Off-Road. My loving girlfriend got that, well, decided to tell me to buy that one, and it was made in 1985. Yes, that's the year I was born, so you can figure out when I was born and how old I am. So yes, 1985. This other one is also 1985, and it's by Epix, so you can kind of guess what it's going to be. The California Games. Yes, the California Games. So that means there's going to be another Summer Games style athletics based bullshit. Yay! So that's what I got whilst I was hovering around. Oh, and finally, I've been wanting this, and special shout out to Time Team 1982. He's a top lad. He made me remember what this was, and it's always one I wanted to play, and it was almost as if the stars aligned, and I saw it, and the guy sold it me for a $5, so I was like, boom, in my pocket it goes. Don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm sorry. Parodius, that one with the crazy squids and half-naked women and Japanese whatever the hell it is. I wanted to play that for years. So yeah, this one, I've wanted to play this for such a long time. So looking forward to that, because I loved it. I don't even know how you pronounce it anyway. Gradius? It's part of that series as well. And I've always wanted to play them as well. Play this, because, you know, apparently they all link and it's all kind of weird and wacky and whatever. So yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I've actually just seen 2 games down there that I was going to show off, but they're underneath a bunch of other stuff. But we'll save that for another time. Another time, another place. So there you go. That is pretty much what I got on my journeys. So, woo! Yeah, so to go on to the question before, why do you retro game? Stefan, the legend that he is, he actually said it in a pretty good way, to be an archaeologist. I've kind of got this kind of mentality now with new games that I don't think we're as innocent as we used to be. I think that's probably what I'm getting at. I mean, like, now games are churned out because A, you can make a shitload of money out of them, and B, you can churn them out year after year after year with the same content, with whatever, and it doesn't really matter. You could just, I mean, Call of Duty is probably the worst offender for it. I mean, they release a new game every year, stick a few maps on it, and everyone goes, "Oh God, it's the best game ever!" And it's a good game. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost like they kind of see you coming with your wallet, you know. Whereas retro games back in the day, they'd make one game, and then if they made a sequel, they'd take years to come out because they didn't have the money to do it, and also as well, it was all about quality. So, you know, it's like with Starwing. I mean, that's probably the best thing I can say. Starwing 2 was meant to come out on the Super Nintendo, and it never happened. It never did. But then the Nintendo 64 came along and Lilac Wars came out, which I think was a reimagining of it. I don't know. But Nintendo, actually, I mean, I'm not a big advocate of what they do most of the time, and I like what they do, but I'm always a bit skeptical of the things they do. But like, it's a strange thing with Nintendo, because like, I think one of the guys that made Zelda's actually come out and said, we take years between sequels because we want to do a good job. Fair play to him. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, that's probably why I like looking at retro games, because when you look at some sequels, there's a lot of time between each one because they've actually had to take the time out to make it good, because they didn't have patches and stuff like that. You know, they had to send it out, and if it was fucked, that was it. It was on the shelves. There was nothing they could do about it. Game over. So they really had to take their time over it, which is why I kind of like looking at retro games, because you think, sometimes when you look at it, you kind of think, I mean, I play bad games because I think it's funny and I like to put my friends through it. But when you look at them, they did genuinely put a lot of love into some of those games. And sometimes with the great games, I mean, when you look at Enter the Matrix, where I was pissing myself laughing. Oh, this game.
For some reason, it does look like... I'm not surprised.
Please stop. You moved into a wall. You moved into a wall. Like that. You know, it's strange because they obviously took a lot of time and a lot of patience with it, and as soon as that came out, you know, there wasn't going to be any sequels or anything like that. It had to go out, and it was the kind of time of when games were starting to become financially acceptable to big businesses. Around that kind of time, my mind's eye anyway, around the early 2000s, when games started to really explode and become really popular. I mean, the PS1 was a great system, but it almost had that kind of weird, homely feeling to it. There were games on there that didn't really make much sense to the popular mainstream. I'm probably rambling now, if I'm honest, but you know, it's what I'm trying to get at is that retro gaming, if you had to put a label on it, it's almost as if understanding how we've got to where we are now. So from the early days of the old Atari 2600s and beyond that to where we are now, it's a completely different end of the spectrum. I mean, they were making money in their own little way, and it was quite popular that way, but it almost had this kind of stigma attached that if you liked games, you were a nerd and you were... I don't know. I'm probably wrong, because I mean, whenever I used to talk about games at school, and the way I used to like games, so like, you know, I used to talk about the Sega CD and the Philips CDI and 3DO and all these other ones, and all they used to say is, oh, I've got a Mega Drive, oh, I've got a SNES, and that would be it. I couldn't really latch on to anybody talking about other consoles and how they worked and stuff like that. Or the other aspect, they said, oh, I'm a PC gamer, so that would be it for me, because I didn't really have a PC back then. Not a good one, anyway. So it's understanding, for me personally, to understand how we've got to where we are and what decisions were made to get to how gaming is now such a big thing. Because, let's be honest, I mean, if games hadn't become what they are, like they are now, such a big industry with Steam and everything like that, would we be here doing this now, or would we feel like idiots for doing it? Would we, if you like doing this kind of thing, fine, don't lambast me for it. I mean, if we started talking about train spotting, usually when you say train spotting, you think of losers. And I've got nothing against that, because my dad loves bus spotting, and that's true, he loves spotting buses. But it's almost like, if games hadn't become so popular now, and because of it, would retro gaming be as popular? So that's my question back to all of you. If gaming hadn't become so popular now, would retro gaming be as popular? Would we have considered games such as these as popular now, or would they have just been committed to the dust? Because that's something I always think about, because I think if the PS3 and the Xbox hadn't become so popular, and yet all these kids suddenly jumping on the bandwagon, and people like me who suddenly realised there were other people out there that did this kind of thing, if that hadn't happened, would we have remembered this in such a jolly way? So, comment, like and subscribe, so tell me what you think, and so, you know, that's my kind of little question to you all. So, he's been watching me this whole time. He hasn't said a word though, he's been quiet. Maybe he's asleep. Maybe he's asleep. So yeah, comment, like and subscribe, and like my old dad used to say to me, I'm dead, Jim. Oh no, I'm watching Star Trek. Shut up.